My name is Lena, and I was left at the altar. Not with a text, not with a phone call. No, it was worse. He told me in person, 5 minutes before the music started, in a quiet hallway outside the church sanctuary while my parents were fixing their corsages. I can't do this, Lena. I'm in love with someone else. And she's pregnant. I remember the stillness in my body as he said it. Like something inside me stopped breathing. Not my heart, that was pounding. But the part of me that had imagined forever, that part just froze. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't even say a word. I turned, walked calmly into the chapel, and picked up the mic meant for our vows. "Ladies and gentlemen," I said to the friends and family who had flown in from 3 different countries, "there will be no wedding today. The groom has left the building. But there's cake, champagne, and a great DJ, so let's celebrate new beginnings anyway." They say I smiled when I said it. I don't remember smiling. But I do remember the sound of silence breaking into applause. His name was Drew. We'd been together for 6 years, built a business together, or so I thought. We started a small architecture firm. He did client relations. I handled the creative, the drawings, the concepts, the 3D designs. He used to joke, "I sell the dream, Lena builds it." Turns out he was selling dreams all over town. When I got home from what should have been my honeymoon, I sat alone on the couch in my unworn wedding dress. No tears, just planning. I opened a new business account in my name, a new LLC, Altar Designs. I chose the name on purpose, a nod to the altar he left me at, and to how I was about to alter everything he thought he knew about me. He didn't reach out for 2 weeks. I heard from friends that he'd flown to Italy with the woman he left me for, a junior architect at our firm. Sophie, 24, fresh out of grad school, very talented, very pregnant. When Drew finally texted, it was to ask if I'd be willing to work something out regarding the company. "We're both listed on the LLC," he wrote, "and you know I brought in most of the clients. We can be adults about this." I didn't respond. Instead, I filed for a new license and rebranded all my design files under Altar. All the original drafts had my name on them, every render, every floor plan, all backed up in cloud drives he didn't even know existed. A week later, I called our accountant. Turns out, Drew hadn't filed taxes in over a year. He'd been writing off expensive dinners and private travel as client meetings, most of which I wasn't invited to. I hired a lawyer. By the time Drew returned from Italy, the old firm was a skeleton. I'd moved on. He hadn't. He showed up at my apartment, unannounced. "I didn't think you'd actually go through with this," he said. "You're not the type." "Apparently you don't know me at all," I said, closing the door in his face. I worked, and I worked. I built Altar from nothing, with late nights, ramen dinners, and free YouTube tutorials to upskill my portfolio. At first, clients were hesitant. Some still associated me with a scandal, but others, they admired what I was doing. One of them, a small business owner, said, "You turned heartbreak into architecture. That's art." He gave me my first big solo contract, redesigning a historic inn into a wellness retreat. The render went viral on Pinterest. People started talking. Meanwhile, Drew was struggling. Turns out the Italy trip was self-funded. He maxed out a personal card and expected Sophie's father, a wealthy contractor, to help him land projects. That never happened. By the time Sophie gave birth, they were living in her parents' guest house. She quit the firm. He got booted. I got a text from him 3 months later. "Hey, let's meet. No drama, just closure." Closure? You left me in a hallway on our wedding day. You don't get closure. You get ignored. Altar was growing, fast. I hired interns, bought new software, redesigned my website with sleek branding, all white and gold, minimal and modern. My tagline: "We build what they said you'd never recover from." It resonated with people, especially women. I started getting emails from divorced moms, single professionals, even widows. They didn't just want homes, they wanted new beginnings, altered lives. A year after the non-wedding, I was invited to speak at an architecture summit in Denver. Guess who was also listed on the roster? Drew. I showed up in a white pantsuit, sharp, clean, regal. The whispers started before I even stepped on stage. When I spoke, I didn't mention him, not once. But I did say this: sometimes we don't rebuild from the ground up. Sometimes we alter the blueprint and build better. The audience gave a standing ovation. Drew left before I stepped off stage. A month later, I got a cease and desist letter from Drew's lawyer, claiming that Alter Designs was confusingly similar to the old firm's name. My lawyer responded with a 100-page evidence file, trademarked branding, client testimonials, tax returns, and documentation of Drew's dissolution of interest. He withdrew the complaint 2 days later. I kept building. One boutique hotel became two. Then came a beachfront restaurant, then a co-working space for women in tech. Each project had a story, and each story brought me further from that church hallway and the man who abandoned me in it. I heard through a mutual friend that Drew and Sophie split. Apparently, she discovered he was messaging other women while she was breastfeeding. Classic. She moved in with her sister. He moved back with his mom. 2 years after the wedding that wasn't, I opened Alter Studios, my first brick-and-mortar space. It was a glass building with white walls and floating gold stairs. Minimal, warm, proud. At the launch party, I unveiled my new logo, a stylized A shaped like an open door. "Welcome to your new chapter," I said to my team. "One design at a time." Later that night, I received a voicemail. It was Drew. He sounded tired. "I miss you. I miss what we had." I was stupid. I got scared. I thought the grass was greener, but it was just different. He paused, then added, "Anyway, if there's ever a chance we could, I know you're doing great. I just wanted to say, I'm proud of you." I saved the voicemail, not to revisit it, but as proof. Proof that success speaks louder than apologies. That winter, I was featured in Architectural Digest. The title? "The Woman Who Rebuilt Her Life and Designed a Legacy." 3 years after the wedding that wasn't, I got married, for real, to a man who saw me, not as a stepping stone, not as a safety net, but as a partner. He stood with me at the altar. No drama, no hidden texts, no cold feet. Just warmth and love and truth. As we exchanged vows, I glanced out at the guests, and I saw someone standing at the back of the church. Drew. He wasn't invited, but I wasn't surprised. People always show up to the buildings they never believed you could build. He left quietly after the ceremony. No drama, no scene. Just a shadow fading behind the stained glass. I never spoke to him again. But I kept that voicemail, and every now and then when life gets heavy, I play it, and then I look around, at my husband, at my company, at the lives we've helped reshape, and I remember, sometimes the best revenge isn't slamming the door, it's building your own, and opening it wide for the life you deserve. Success is the best revenge, and mine was designed beautifully.